My Freedom Ain't So Free, Part 21. So as we come to a close in this series, I thank you all for taking the time to be a part of it, to view my story, about how I was dragged by social services or Department of Social Services, Child Protective Services, however you want to call it, all because the district attorney of the state of South Carolina was angry that I was not willing to put my husband in jail with trumped up charges. I was not willing to elaborate on my story and make it seem like he was a monster in front of my children. So the way she retaliated was to have social services remove my children and then take us through the ringer by telling us that we would get our kids back in a couple weeks. Then a couple weeks turned into a couple months. And then people that were supposed to love and protect us because they were so-called friends of a friend then start victimizing us and victimizing my children. And then to make matters worse, it became a money grab. People saw, they see you in the limelight doing conferences. They see you, building your brand, and then they want a piece of the pie. It got so bad that my PR, she took sides with Khadijah and Halima, and then she started attacking. And that is all okay because it's a tactic of Satan, and we are not ignorant of the devil's devices. And so things will happen. And if I did not go through the fire, I would not come out as pure gold. And it made me so appreciative that God had gave me my children when I did not have them. And there's a saying that says, if I never had rain, I wouldn't appreciate the sunshine. So if my children, I already appreciated them when they were given to me. But if I never went through this, I wouldn't realize how much I love them. I wouldn't realize how important the blessing of being their mother is. So my freedom ain't free. We live in a country where they say that we have rights and freedoms. They say that we're protected, but really I wasn't protected. I was exploited, exposed, and lied to. And so were my children. And so I pray as I come to a close of this 21 video series, I pray that this has helped you not just to hear my business, but to understand, to advocate for yourself. Here's what I learned. Number one, I was told by a social worker after the fact, I never had to release my children. If they don't have a warrant, they don't have to come into your house. I thought I was being compliant by going with the system because they said I had to give my children. You don't have to release your children if they don't have a warrant. That's number one. Number two, when I was being overstepped and Halima thought that she was going to adopt my children and she was going to move them out of the school that they were in. And when she started acting crazy, at that point, I had the right to remove them from her and send them to someone else. DSS treated me as if that wasn't a thing, but I found out legally I could have removed them from her home because I still had legal say over my children until the investigation was over. The next point is when they found that everything was everything, when they found us not guilty, when they found that I had good placement, when they found that my home was safe, I could have got a lawyer to fight for me because at that point they were being negligent. At that point, my children were being abused and my daughter was cutting in another person's home, and DSS was negligent and allowing them to be in a worse situation than they were with their family, and I could have got my lawyer. My husband told me the other day when I told him I was getting ready to do this series that the statute of limitations isn't up and maybe we should still sue. But I did this series so that I can help someone else. My life is a living testimony. And the major lesson that I learned in all of this was to keep God in your marriage, keep God in your home. If my husband and I had been in a place in God, this would have never happened because the enemy crept in that night I threw the money at him and the night that we got into it with him punching me in my face. I pray that this has helped you. I pray that this has encouraged you. I pray that this has empowered you to always know your rights, always stand up for yourself, and never back down. Shalom.